Hi, myself Jose. Today we will see a contacts web app, which is a contact management web application where users can search, store, update, delete, and view contacts. Let's see this website in live. Yeah. These are the list of contacts which are in the database. We can even search for specific contacts. Let me search for Vicky. Yeah, here it is. How about Massey? It works great. And I can even sort it, so the contacts in ascending order or descending order, whichever way. And I can even download the contacts and click off the button. Let's view this. Yeah, all the contacts are downloaded. I have a total of 124 contacts. As free starts from one, and apart from it, I can edit an existing contact. For instance, I will edit this one and see. So here you can see that contact has been updated successfully, and this is the contact which I edited. I can even delete an contact. Let me delete a random one. I will delete Larson Guerra. See, the contact has been deleted. I can even add a new contact information which will display from saved. Let the name be Raj Kamal. Phone number be maybe Raj Kamal at slummail.com. We save it. Contact has been successfully added. Let's check where it is. Here we have this. Okay, so we have done adding a contact, editing it, deleting it, and even searching for one and downloading. Now let's dive into the source code of this. Um, this client part consists of the front end code, and the server part consists of the back end, which is built using React and Express. Um, this is my start point for my backend, where it's listing from a specific port mentioned in my environment variable. These are my list of metal bars which I've used. This course is for cross-origin request handling, where since my backend is hosted in a different domain and my request from the front end comes from a different domain, the request from a different front end domain should be accepted by the backend. For that, I'm using this course. Apart from that, this express.url encoded and JSON is for passing the data in the form body and also in the URL. This router handles my routes, that is my endpoints. Let's jump into those. As you can see on the left hand side, I have separations of concern into place using the MEC model. Yeah, I have not used the view part here. I've done the view part separately as a front end, which is the client. Talking about the other two, which is the model and controller. This is my model where I'm in a specific schema for my MongoDB, and the controller consists of my functions for each route, and this configuration consists of my database config, and this is where we left index.route. Now, this is my home route, and this route is to check the health of my server. Apart from that, we have a API contacts endpoint, and whatever trailing you part of the path comes after this will be handled by my contacts.route handler, and I have overall of 5 requests handling over here, 2 gets, one over here and here, one post, one put, and one delete. This get is for to get all the contacts. This get is to get a specific contact mentioned by the ID. Um, let's dive into each one. As you can see over here, the get all contacts, what it does is this contact model which I have defined and created in my model. This is a ORM actually. I have used a Mongoose ORM where we are applying a schema and validation to my MongoDB database, which where it doesn't inherently support the schema type as it's free and not strongly typed. Okay, this find is one of the commands in my ORM where it gets all my data in the specific model mentioned, which is contacts. Let me show you. Yeah. This is singular form. This will be changed to contacts pluralized during the runtime. Coming back to my controller, after I get it and I get back the promise with a response, I pass the response back to my front end from where my request came for further processing, and this to handle the error. This get contact is to get a specific contact mentioned by ID. I get the ID using the params, and search the DB using the find by ID command. If I don't find a document, I respond with no such ID exists message. Else, I will respond with the particular document which I got for that ID. This add new contact is to create a new contact on a post request. And this is to validate if I will be having 3 fields, which is name, phone, and email, and none of it should be empty. This is handled by my helper function, which has written over here. What it does is like it gets the object and checks if there is any key where its value is empty string. If it's so, it returns true. So when it gets true, I will respond back that empty fields can't be added and return it. If that's not the case, if I have all the fields filled in, I will create a particular document for the given data and respond back after successful creation using this contact successfully added a message. This update contact us to update a specific contact using the ID, and this appropriately handles and checks what has happened. This is for validation if such a ID exists. These things just flags what has been changed, whether it's a name change, phone number change, or all of them three. And this delete contact, yeah, similarly it also finds and delete a contact for a given ID. And that's all on the backend part. And now jump into the front end. Let me close all these files. Okay, yeah. Here I have built the front end using React, and I have a total of 6 components. This app.js being my main component. What this part of the code does is, as soon as the component gets mounted, it fetches all the contacts from the database and stores it in the contact state. And this set loading is false. There is a loading state which is initially set to true. Why this is uh, actually I have hosted on a free backend. The backend server sponges down whenever there is 15 minutes of inactivity. So on a new request or a request after a certain amount of time of inactivity, for the first request of that sort, the server needs to start up freshly. So there is a startup delay of up to 2 minutes. So for that, the user should know that there is some process happening. For that, I have a loading overlay, that is a ring spinning around. And as soon as I get my contacts from the database, I'll set that overlay to false and display my contacts. The displaying part of the contacts is um, actually this contact is not directly binded to my display UI. Instead of this, I have contacts view which is binded to my UI. Why I'm using two different states, one is contacts and other one is contacts view, is that I don't want to edit the given response from the backend, because if I edit it, if I modify it, I have to get a new for get put up a new request and get the data again. I don't want to perform any such fetches. So what I do is I keep this contacts fresh and I use this contacts view for any modification searches, etc. This show success message is that green pop-up which you see on the left hand side bottom for post, put and delete actions. And you know that it fades away in a few seconds. That is because of the set timeout, which is set to 5000 milliseconds. The search event handler, uh, what this does is this takes in the contacts and filters it. How this filter function is written is that I will take in the name key and convert it to lowercase and check if my given input, that is as soon as I start typing into the search field. For instance, I want to search for Rahul. As soon as I type in R, I get my e.target value over here and I convert it to lowercase and compare it with each and every object in my contacts. And if there is a match, I will store it my result. And at the end, I will check if this results array length. If length is 0, what I'll do is I'll display all the contacts since I didn't find any match. If there is at least one contact matching, I will just display that contact as my search result. And this is for sorting it, ascending and descending appropriately. This is very much self-explanatory. And this edit handler, yeah, here you can see a contacts form. And we saw that we have a add contact and edit contact option. I'm using the same contacts form component for both of it. So, so which one to trigger, or which one to show, or what to show on the fields depends on what type of trigger I am doing. Like if I'm triggering it as an edit or triggering it as adding contact. So if I'm triggering it as an edit, what I do is I get the values of the specific row for which I have triggered that edit. Here this is a bit clumsy because object destructuring has had some minute errors. And coming back to the code, the set contact state is to this contact is actually a normal variable. It's not a state. I use it as an intermediary to get all the values and then set it to the contact state. And this contact state is just passed down to my component as I need to display the already existing values to edit. And this edit to, yeah, this one determines whether there are two handlers in my contact form. One is for post and other one is for add. As you can see, this is for the add, this is for the post. Uh, which one to trigger depends on that edit value. If the edit is true, I will trigger this edit handler. If the edit is false, I will trigger the save handler. You can see the corresponding code over here. Yeah. Going back to my main component, this set form is you see an overlay with form values and save and edit cancel button. That overlay is shown because whenever the show form is true. This refresh page is like whenever we do a post, put or delete action, we should update our UIs also, right? Whenever there's a change in our database, corresponding change should immediately reflect in our UI. For that, I get the contacts from the database for any new request I do. I'll trigger this reference page. This delete handler is that like when the user clicks on the delete button, it shouldn't directly delete it because it may be even to accidental click. So to avoid those errors, we have a additional pop-up which asks for an additional confirmation whether we have to delete. This is to show the pop-up and to set the values of the state contact state. And when you click yes on the pop-up, this function gets triggered. And when you say click no, this function gets triggered. Yeah, this show overlay is to just hide and show that pop-up. This is to convert, as we have a download function, we have to convert the JSON to CSV. And this function handles the download part, creates a blob and saves it as CSV. These are my JSX. As I said earlier, I mentioned about the loading overlay, which depends on this loading state. There is also a delay message, which like I explained why I have to show a loading overlay. The explanation for that loading overlay is put up as a message using this component. And I've used React icons. Apart from that, uh, this is the main part where as soon as I get the contacts and set it to another state contacts view, I will take each contact from it and map it to each row of the table. This is how it is done. And this is for the contacts form. This is the delete overlay, that is the confirmation for deletion. This is for the success message which you see on the bottom left corner. Uh, that's all about the brief overview of the code. Hope you got a good idea of how the control flows.